Hey guys, Tyler here. I'm your captain at Torwick's Guiding Service. Today I'm out on Lake Travis, but I'm fishing the upper end of the lake. We had a lot of rain this past week. We had a lot of rain this morning. My trip got canceled, so I'm out here just fun fishing. You know, can't get better at fishing if you don't keep practicing. So anyways, what I'm trying to do is make a little video for you guys on early fall fishing. Right now, the water temps have finally started to come down. We've just started having our cold fronts. And with that, as the water temps start to drop, these fish are going to transition and they're going to do different things. You know, earlier during the summer, they've been out deep, they've been off ledges, off secondary points, favoring that deep water. And now out here on Travis, fish live in deep water year round. So even when I reference shallow fishing, you know, you're still going to catch fish down to like 20 feet. It's just how this lake is. But what I'm going to be focusing on is trying to get a moving bait bite going, okay? If you look behind me, you can see it's real cloudy. Earlier it was real rainy. We're supposed to have more rain coming in later today. And when you get conditions like this, it drops the barometric pressure. And why that's relevant is barometric pressure has a big impact on animals and especially fish and how they feed. And it has a tendency, especially when there's a falling barometer, to get the fish more active and they're more likely to chase moving baits. So in this area I'll show you, you can see that we got a lot of rock out here, a lot of big boulders, some drop-offs. So anyways, we're going to be targeting that kind of stuff, throwing some moving baits, and in particular, medium diving crankbaits, some chatterbaits, some spinner baits. May pull out a topwater, but we're just going to gauge it by how the fish react. But my preference of bait this time of year is going to be a medium diving crankbait, and especially in a pattern that resembles a crawfish. So I've got a wiggle wart tied on there. We're going to start with that. Kind of, you know, see how the fish bite, see if we can get some fish catches on video, and try to teach you guys something about fishing Travis during the early fall. Stay tuned. So one thing I want to emphasize to you guys is to fish the conditions. Okay, you come out here and you've got, you know, these inclinations to fish these seasonal patterns, you know, square bills, red crankbaits, you know, the typical fall stuff. You got that in your mind, but, you know, look around today. I started out here in the morning, it was real overcast, there's a little bit of wind, a little bit of rain, completely changed. It is glass calm out here, you know, very little cloud cover. You can see we're now getting into some bluebird skies. And that changes the bite. You know, you can keep throwing those baits, but a lot of times when you have conditions like this, slowing down works better. So you'll see a few fish catches in this video where I pick up a Texas rig and I start targeting that isolated cover. Well, when you have high barometric pressure and you have almost no wind, the fish tend to either move deeper or they're going to go towards cover. So in this case, I stayed fishing shallow, but I'm targeting brush, you know, lay downs, rocks, you know, that stick out in the water further than the rest, little points. That kind of stuff is what I'm going to look for, but I'm going to slow down. I'm going to fish plastics instead of my moving baits. And a lot of times, you know, fishing the conditions and not just fishing what you plan to fish, it's going to get you a lot more bites.
Then I heard a bottle break against the bedroom wall. That old diesel engine made an eerie sound when Papa fired it up and hit it into town. Oh, the picture in the paper showed the scene real well. Papa's rig was buried in the local motel. The desk clerk said he saw it all real clear. He never had the break. Thoughts are still with her. Such a strange combination of a woman and a child. Such a
All right, guys, I'm finishing up out here on the water, and I just kind of want to wrap things up here. As fall approaches, as it gets cooler, and especially as we start getting more and more of these cold fronts, you got to be thinking about what that does to the water temperature and what it's going to do to the bait fish. Early in the fall, the fish will go to the back of the coves in search of cooler water from the runoff from that rain. But then it kind of flip-flops. Late in the fall, they still go back there, but because of the warmer water. And it's because the main lake cools slower. So the main lake usually is a degree or two warmer than it is in the back of coves. And that helps the plankton and the algae bloom longer, which is what attracts the bait fish, which is what attracts the bass. So throughout this season, you're going to be targeting stuff using baits that are imitating threadfin shad, but then the bass are also going to feed up a lot on crawfish. So let me just really quickly kind of recap the baits that are going to be on my deck and what I was throwing today and what I think you need to have when you're out fishing. First off is a spinner bait. Excellent bait whenever you see a little bit of shad activity. Love throwing crankbaits this time of year. Storm wigglewort and a craw color. This is always on my deck in the fall. Excellent, excellent bait to be throwing right now. And then here I just got a Texas rig set up there. A lot of times I'll put a little craw bait on there, like a speed craw, and when I'm up in the shallows and I see any isolated cover, you know, some brush, an old staircase, you know, any broken piece of dock in the lake, you find that a lot on Lake Travis. I'll use that Texas rig and pitch a bait up there. A chatterbait's a really good one. On the upper end of Lake Travis, like I'm at right now, the water's a lot more stained than the lower end. So I'll throw a chatterbait because of all the vibration it gives off. So I got green pumpkin jackhammer right here. That's a real good one. Football jig. Love football jigs in the fall. I throw these things, you know, year round. I love these things. But in the fall, this is a very, very good bait, and this is going to put a lot of big fish in your boat. So keep a half-ounce football jig on at all times. Swim jig. I always like to keep one of these on. That way, you know, when I'm around docks, I can skip them up underneath there. When I'm up around brush, it's a very good way to imitate those shad that those fish are going to be feeding on. But it's a lot more weedless than, say, like a swim bait. And then lastly, a little sleeper here is the underspin. Later in the fall, you're going to see some activity where the bass will actually come up on the surface in the back of these coves, hitting shad, chasing them in schools. Love throwing an underspin. Try these baits here. These are going to be really good ones throughout this season. And then as we progress into the fall, the pattern will change slightly. But get out there on the water. And as always, if you guys want to book a trip with me, my website is just torwicksguidingservice.com. Very easy to book online, or reach out to me and give me a phone call. And I always love when you guys leave a comment, let me know what you think of these videos. And if you have any questions, as always, drop a comment below. I like hearing from you guys, and I'm always happy to answer. And I love teaching people to fish, so let me help you learn. Thanks, guys, and I appreciate you watching.